Hey guys, Angela here. Listen, this week we're only going to be able to share the audio with you, not the video, because for some reason our video file got corrupted and we weren't able to retrieve it, unfortunately. However, we did get a second video for our Patreon subscribers. And so if you would grace us with your support on Patreon, you will be able to see a short after episode interview with Dr. Karida Brown. We apologize. Listen, it's not that we forgot to hit record like we've done a few times in the past. We actually did, but the file got corrupted. So anyway, this is one of our most informative, our most inspiring, our most intellectually stimulating conversations that we have brought to you. I encourage you to read it. To listen to it with friends, to pass it on to those that you love who support the liberation of the Black community, that support the truth about contributions to America from the Black community, from the formerly enslaved. And so enjoy and let us know what you think about this episode, okay? Brooklyn!
Hey, Ange.
Hey, Les, how's it going?
Very well.
Good, yes. Today's a good day.
Today is an excellent day. I was a little nervous about this, right?
Yes.
And you had to kind of talk me off the edge.
Yes, because that's what I do, yes.
Listen, we have somebody here that I am so proud of and so happy that she agreed to be on our podcast. That
we're like aunties.
We're like aunties, but I can't wait for you to meet this dynamic lady. That one right there. Oh, you just wait. Just wait.
Hold 1 second.
But before I get all into that, I just want to say welcome to another episode of Black Boomer Besties from Brooklyn.
I'm Angela, and that's Leslie, my best friend of almost 50 years. We are two free-thinking 60-something-year-old Black women. We have decided to be more bold and joyful in our lives, and we invite you to join us. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that comes up quite a bit on our show, podcast, all the things, and that is around legacy. What is your legacy? How to create legacy? How to rethink legacy? And today we have a guest that is such an example of that. We're going to get to know a little bit about her through her bio, but also just how she got to this place where she decided to do this really important work for the Black community and everyone across the world. I'm going to let Leslie read her bio and then we'll jump in.
But before I do, why don't you take a minute to hit like and subscribe and turn on notifications so that you can hear when we drop all new content, usually about once a week, but hit like and subscribe right now.
Thank you.
And tell your friends. Dr. Karida L. Brown is an NAACP Image Award-winning author and public intellectual. A professor at Emory University, Brown is a leading scholar of systemic racism and the study of Black life. Her work, which spans over a decade of groundbreaking research and analysis, has earned her both national and international acclaim. She is the co-author of the New Brownies book, A Love Letter to Black Families, continuing the legacy of W.E.B. Du Bois by centering Black narratives and empowering Black futures. Dr. Brown has made many media appearances. You can find her work and her talking and her scholarly work all over the internet if you're interested in looking, and you will be. She's made media appearances in Mother Jones, in Ms. Magazine, and Washington Post, among other things. I can talk about some of her educational background, but what I do want to say is that she and my bestie here have something in common. They've both went to University of Pennsylvania.
Yay.
So it's okay. It's okay. I'll just be over here on the side. But I bring to you right now Dr. Karida L. Brown. Welcome.
Welcome.
Oh my good. Hey, besties.
Hey, darling.
It is such a joy and an honor to be here sitting on the couch with you all this evening. And I really do appreciate the invitation. Thank you.
It's great to have you. It's great to have you.
So, one of the things that I am just so impressed by is your latest book, not the first, your latest book that I think it was published or it came out in May of this year. So it's brand new.
Brand spanking new. It's so pretty.
It's so pretty. The Battle for the Black Mind.
Let's hold it forward a little bit so it's less
shiny.
No, not so it's less blurry. Beautiful. There it is. Yeah, because we got to talk about that cover.
Yeah. We'll talk about this cover, but this right now is required reading. Certainly get your copy before it gets on the banned list. We talked about that and we can kind of smile about that, but that's no joke, for real.
Yeah.
Books like this have so much rich information and almost marching orders that I can understand and see why many of the masses don't want us to know about these things. It's empowering. Yes. And we're going to get into, and it's a battle. And we're going to get into some of the reasons why right now. So Dr. Karida, come on in and tell us about this scholarly piece of work that I'm just so proud of.
Battle for the Black Mind. This is a work that has been 8 years in the making for me.
Oh, wow.
7 years of multi-sided archival research across the United States and in South Africa, where I was on a dogged pursuit to understand what exactly was a colored school. Okay, what we had in this country for almost a century, and it's sometimes like it gets lost upon us. I know even for me, that for almost 100 years in these United States, the American school system was by design separate and unequal and intentionally designed to be inferior, right? Now, that's not what necessarily happened in segregated schools, but that was an intention. And I wanted to understand not only what that was, segregated schools, racially segregated schools. I wanted to understand the ideology, the philosophy that the architects of this segregated system had in mind for Black folks. And of course, the main part about this book, what Black folks did in spite of this system to not only survive, but to thrive and to situate education as a cornerstone of the long Black freedom struggle. So that was my mission with this book. As I mentioned, 7 years of research, 1 year of writing, and the book came out, as you mentioned, May 2025 for the 71st anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa. Wow.
Yes. During a time where this occupier in the White House has actively started the process of dismantling the Department of Education, has a frontal assault on the higher education system writ large in the United States. So this book needed to come out in such a time as this, and I want you all to experience it as a history of Black education, but also as a playbook. Okay, because we got the recipes and the blueprints. Our elders and ancestors left those for us, and understand it as a call to action.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. So there is, Leslie and I both read the book. It is it is, as Leslie said, required reading. It deserves to be on the bookshelf and on the coffee table, because those are the ones that people pick up and flip through. Every home needs to have a copy of this. I purposefully did not state the racial group of the home. Every home should have this level of education, of understanding how this all began. There's a particular passage that I've asked Dr. Brown to read, because when I read it, it just made me see, okay, this is why she did this for us. This is why she did this for us. This was the compelling that she felt. And, you know, whenever we bring a guest on and they have accomplished tremendous body of work, I always think it's important for us to know who they are and what drives them, so that you can see yourself as not at the end, but kind of where it all began and what was the stirring, so that you can feel that, and whatever your legacy is that you can begin creating or continue creating, you can use their example. So Dr. We typically call first name Dr. Karida.
Just call me Karidas. We're amongst besties here.
Yeah, okay? Absolutely. And we also like to give props. So you work hard for that, Dr. Girl. You worked hard for it. So if you could read, starting on page 148, the Black academics, and then ending with Black education tradition, that would be great. You guys listen up.
Sure. I've got my copy here, y'all.
Yay.
These Black academics and dozens of others took the focus off of the tired old question, what's wrong with Black people, and shifted it towards the real question, what is wrong with the system? They weren't interested in treating symptoms. They were looking for the root causes of inequality. This is what we call emancipatory sociology, a sociology that not only diagnoses the problem, but also offers solutions, pulling injustice up by its roots and dismantling systems that make life hard for some and easier for others. They use sociology as a mighty weapon to attack oppressive systems at their core. And that's the foundation of Black sociology. And it's a legacy that runs deep in my veins. As a Black woman sociologist, my work isn't just academic, it's personal. I stand on the shoulders of giants like the ones mentioned above, those who dared to use sociology as a tool for our liberation, not our oppression. My own scholarship delves into the historical roots of systemic racism, revealing the inner workings of how the structures that confine us today built long before we were born. I've traced these systems from the institutionalization of the transatlantic slave trade in medieval times, all the way to the 17th century, to the African-American Great Migration of the first half of the 20th century. This book on racial inequality in education is about exposing the machinery that has kept us from our full potential and celebrating our rich Black educational tradition.
Well, there you go.
Thank you.
So I know that the early chapters of your book, actually throughout, you talk about how Black women played a role in, even before emancipation of the enslaved, of those held in bondage, who were not allowed to read and write in English. They came with language, but they weren't allowed to read and write in English. And how these women, despite all of the cruelty, all of the wickedness that was going on, that they established these ways of teaching. Can you talk to us about, I know you have a favorite. I know you
I
have
could
a
talk,
favorite.
but it changes every time. These women who are the protagonists of the book, they were some bad sisters. And
Yes.
I see parts of myself, parts of my mother, parts of my grandmother, the women in my life, in all of these women. So, you know,
I'll pick one.
yeah, you'll pick one.
I don't remember her name, but she is the one that started teaching under
The tree.
The book made me the
Under
book
the tree.
cover.
Yes.
And there's a spoiler alert about what that tree is up to now. But yeah, if you could tell us her story, that is a pretty incredible story.
Mary Smith Peake.
Mary Smith.
Okay.
She was born a free Black woman of color during slavery, meaning that although she lived in Virginia, which was a slave state, her family were not enslaved. And what that afforded Mary, her parents sent her north to DC, where she was able to access an education. Mary almost completes high school, and upon attaining that education, she could have stayed north. She could have escaped the horrors of living in a slave society, but no, she goes back to her hometown of Norfolk and then Hampton, Virginia. And what does she do with that education she got?
What'd she do?
She Mary was up to things. She starts a dressmaking business, right? And that's what she's doing during the day because it's providing her cover for what she's really up to. Mary Smith Peake is sneaking on to plantations, teaching enslaved Black Americans how to read, write, and what she calls cipher. Wow. Why? Because she knew a couple things. She knew that knowledge is power, and so did our enslaved brothers and sisters who were working with Mary at that time. She also knew that a day would come when her people would be free, and they would need that to be able to guide their pathway into freedom, liberty, and citizenship. So she saw something. She had vision, right?
Yeah.
And she didn't wait for it to be true. She didn't wait for signs of it to be true. She was doing this, y'all, back in the 1840s.
Unbelievable.
It was a knowing that she had.
So 20 years before the Emancipation Proclamation. However, she lives in Hampton, Virginia during the time that the Civil War comes. The Confederate Army burns Hampton, Virginia down to the ground. The townspeople, especially enslaved Black Americans, run to the nearest Union Army camp, Fort Monroe, including Mary and her family. And what does Mary do? She sets up a freedom school under an oak tree on that Union base. And it starts off with 5 people, adults and children. Okay. And within 2 weeks, there are 60 folks meeting and gathering under that freedom tree. She continues to teach. The American Missionary Association from up north hears about this Black woman doing this, and they send resources south to buy her a small house so she can continue her teaching, and they sent her a small salary. She becomes the first Black teacher of record for a freedmen's school.
Wow.
Okay? Wow. This is while Black people lay and wait at the precipice of freedom. We don't know what the outcome of this war is going to be, but she's getting us ready, right? Mary didn't live to see the end of the Civil War, so she didn't know the outcome. She died in 1864. However, that freedom tree still exists. It is, in fact, the opening of the campus of Hampton University. And when you think about that school, I want you to understand it as a school that was built on the blood, sweat, tears, and freedom dreams of that Black woman who saw a future for us where education would be the necessary pillar to get us to where we're going. I want you to understand the power of freedom dreaming because it is the most radical form of political imagination, and it is the foundation that activates any movement.
I just need you to use that phrase again. Freedom dreaming.
Freedom dreaming. That one.
Wow.
That one.
Yes. And shout out to the historian, Dr. Robin D.G. Kelly, for coining that term for us.
Yes.
I'm writing
So
that
just
down.
want to give that credit to him. Yeah.
So it's not about what we see in front of us, especially in a time like this. It's about dreaming forward.
It's what our minds see, if your mind can
Exactly.
conceive it.
Exactly.
And under those
Exactly.
circumstances, I can only imagine how difficult it was. People probably thought that, why is she doing this? Wasting time, getting us in trouble, creating problems, this good trouble.
And she
The bravery that
killed.
it took. Yes, it was illegal at that time.
I just keep thinking of Harriet Tubman, and I keep thinking about her in terms of her going back, Mary going back, but also that there's so few of these women that we know of by name. And that's one of the wonderful things about your book, that we can go and because she wasn't the only one. She wasn't the only one at the root of educating formerly enslaved people in America. And so it was such an empowering experience that I had reading the names, and then another name, and then another name of these women who started this work. And there's this particular part that I didn't know at all, and that is that educating Black people, or seeing the value of educating Black people and starting these Black schools, that preceded educating white people. So if you can talk about that, we were in front of education. That was our thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Educating the masses was our thing.
Yes.
That then went. So tell us a little bit about what you uncovered there.
Well, let me take us back to this period right at the end of the Civil War, where the dust is still settling from that time. I want you to know that after the Civil War, there was no public education system in the South for Black or white children. For Black or white children. School education was a institution that was available to the wealthy and privileged. Okay, and this idea of universal education as a basic right for every American citizen, that was not a thing in the South. It was newly freed African Americans, the freedmen, who. What was the first thing that Black Americans did once they took their freedom? They searched for their families to reunite. Yes. They got in community and started building churches. And what did they often build inside those churches? Schools.
Education systems.
Wow.
Schools were one of the main institutions, one of the first things that newly freed African Americans not only built themselves, but advocated for. And during that time, we had the Freedmen's Bureau. Okay. And what that institution did, I want you to understand it as one of America's very first social safety systems. Okay. So before Medicaid or Medicare or the GI Bill, okay, so
that's
these are all
freedmen. Right there.
Yeah. And what does a federal social safety agency do? It ensures that our most vulnerable populations have a standard of what it means to be American. So whether it is your elderly, veterans, our disabled brothers and sisters, in this case, right after 250 years of institutionalized chattel slavery, African American. So this social safety net, it was in charge of the Freedmen's Bank, which gave African Americans the opportunity to save their money, earn interest, and buy land.
Yes.
Wow.
And buy land we did.
Wow.
During that period of Reconstruction, Black people purchased 15 million acres of land. Okay?
Yeah.
Without the 40 acres and a mule.
Without the 40 acres. Yeah. Yeah.
Without the 40 acres and a mule. Also, during this time of Reconstruction era, with the support of the Freedmen's Bureau, that institution also helped negotiate labor contracts between white employers and African American laborers, because, that was a new dynamic in the South.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But one of the most lasting impacts of the Freedmen's Bureau was they invested over $5 million, which is a little over $130 million in today's dollars, in building schools throughout the South. They built over 5,000 schools in a 5-year period between 1865 and 1870. And what that meant was, in addition to the autonomous private schools that Black folks were setting up themselves, you had this safety net, this institution, the Freedmen's Bureau, that's ensuring that communities have at least one schoolhouse, from community to community.
A standard.
A standard. And it was Black Americans who advocated for that. It was Black Americans who insisted that that be something that these United States owed to them in freedom. Wow. And you saw a strong response from the white South. First of all, saying, hold on, we don't want Black Americans getting any education. And also, but if they are going to have education, our kids should have it too. And there you have the birth of the American public school system in the South, nationalizing what we know today as public education.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And a testament to the all boats, when all boats rise,
tides rise,
raises all boats. And it's oftentimes us, the ones who have less than, that are the inclusive, right?
We bring everyone in.
That bring everyone up, right? It's an incredible new fact that you're bringing. This is not a new deal. This is not a what the government kind of handed out to us. It began with us.
Self-agency.
That's right.
And that's what it is. We recognized a need. And rather than wait for a handout or wait for someone else to do it for us. That period of Reconstruction, we saw so many gains in so many different arenas. Obviously we see why that was so threatening to the larger population.
It was crushed. It was crushed.
I will also add to the scorecard, 2,000 Black elected officials serving in political office at the state, local, and federal level, to Black Congress people. Okay, so in that short time of that 12 years during Reconstruction,
12 years,
the progress was unbelievable.
Exponential.
From land ownership, education, political and civic engagement. And there also you had the Freedmen's Bureau seeding and supporting the foundation of many of our HBCUs,
and
which I also talk about in the book.
I definitely want to hear about the HBCUs, because there's some nuances there, which you bring out, which again,
girl, it's more than nuance. It's like, what the what?
I'm spilling the tea.
You are spilling the tea. Nuances. I'm reading and I'm like, but wait a minute. Because we will get into the HBCUs. I just want to speak about the Haines Normal and Industrial Institute. That's my favorite. That story.
Miss Lucy.
Miss Lucy. Yeah, go ahead, Miss Lucy.
Miss Lucy is my favorite.
Oh my goodness. And ladies, why is it that, you say that these names, these Black women's names, you're reading some of their names for the first time.
We don't know.
I learned their names for the first time too through this research. So this is important, this storytelling that we're doing and saying their names.
Yes.
Lucy Craft Laney, it's a form of what the brilliant sociologist Dr. Marcus Anthony Hunter calls intellectual reparations. It's a form of reparations for the ideas that we've introduced into this world and society that we don't get credit for.
Yes.
And here in this book, I had the opportunity to do that for several Black women educationists who built schools, built Black private schools that lasted for a century or more.
It seems like one book at a time. And what was most impressive is how these ladies went north soliciting. Almost it reminded me like they would just show up to these larger organizations in the north and advertise, come in with flyers about this is what we're doing down south. Can you give us a little money and this and that? It was so resourceful.
Yeah.
I want you to understand these Black women educationists. So we'll go with Lucy Craft Laney because she was the OG. She was the blueprint, okay? Miss Lucy also was born during slavery, okay? But she also was born free. Her parents insisted that she learn to read and write, even though it was illegal when she grew up. She's able to navigate a high school education for herself and becomes a part of the first graduating class of Atlanta University, which is today Clark Atlanta University. So she was there before Du Bois stepped on the scene as a professor there, okay?
Wow.
Miss Lucy taught. She became a teacher in the public school system, okay, for 10 years. And it became very clear to her that the state would not do right by Black children. It was not yet ready to protect and nourish young Black minds in the way that they deserved. So she wasn't saying that, she didn't want us to have rights, but she very much understood that the system was going to fail our children. So she went and founded her own school. Miss Lucy ain't have no money. Miss Lucy didn't have a building. Miss Lucy didn't have the business training to know how to do that. And nonetheless, Black women are capable of the wholly impossible. So she just starts it.
That's right.
And she starts a school in the basement of a church in Augusta, Georgia. Within a year, she has over 200 pupils. She has started fundraising. Private dollars from religious institutions, individual wealthy donors from the North, Black and white, of the likes of everyone from the Rockefellers and the Carnegies to Madam C.J. Walker herself was a major donor to her school.
Wow.
And over time, she builds what goes from an elementary school. It grows into a high school, y'all.
Yes.
It takes up 2 city blocks in Augusta. And for our listeners, please go there because it stands as a museum today, okay?
Oh my goodness.
And in addition to that, she founds the first Black nursing school in the state of Georgia on that campus. Why? Because African Americans were excluded, were not allowed to attend the med school. But we needed to be able to provide access to healthcare for one another. So you can see this enterprising mind that was Lucy Craft Laney. And every Black educationist that I feature through the book, and I encourage y'all read this book because you will just be not only empowered by these stories, but you'll fall in love with these women.
Yes.
And they also have left us instruction on how to move in today, in such a time as this. I want to remind you that Miss Lucy Craft Laney did this without an endowment. She had to rob Peter to pay Paul and figure out how to raise those dollars year after year to keep that school open. It stayed open for over a half a century. It graduated thousands of Black minds. So think generations of our very first African-American college graduates. Many of them came from the Haines Institute. And this, again, you can trace this story back to the root was her freedom dreams.
Freedom Dreams.
And she did
Freedom
all of this
Dreams.
in the Jim Crow South, where
Yes.
African Americans didn't have the right to vote, where they were excluded from all manner of, society of national life, and yet and still, without taking one tax dollar, she did all that. So I want us to ask ourselves,
Yeah.
what is your freedom dream, and how are we taking the baton
Yes.
in this leg of the relay to do our part?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think, was it Adam Clayton Powell that said, "What's in your hand?" What's in your hand? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In her case, she didn't have very much in her hand. And look what she did. It was in her head and then in her heart. Oh, my goodness.
So I'm curious about
So many questions.
So you entitled your book "The Battle for the Black Mind." So I really want to kind of dig at how, because I know you probably vetted many different titles, right? You have this body of work. It's one of the most difficult things. Okay, what am I gonna put on the cover of this? Beyond the beautiful. Les, can you hold it up again so we can just look at that beautiful artwork? We might want to mention the person there, and
the artist. And there's a story about the young man that's on the cover as well.
So is that the tree at the bottom? Is that the
there's a tree
Miss
on the
Mary's
back
tree
as well?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad y'all caught that.
Yes.
Oh,
of
yes.
course.
Come on now.
I was yeah. that is
Very
that is
special.
actually the artist and I went to Hampton University on a field visit for this cover, and just walked the grounds under that tree, under Mary Smith Peake's oak tree. It was a part of the spiritual practice that goes into my writing praxis. It was also to allow us to embody visually, how we wanted to use this motif of the tree that you kind of read throughout the book.
Yes.
But that this line work that you see on the cover with the tree in this young man's shirt is in fact the tree from Hampton. So we took images there. And I will note the artist, Charlie Palmer, is also my dear husband.
Yes.
That's my man.
Yes.
Another talent beyond words. So talk about the battle. Like, why do you see this as a battle, and maybe bring it forward to where we are now, and how we can fight? Because I want to win the battle.
Yeah. It looks like we're winning the battle. I think that the masses need to know that. Well, many people already know we're winning the battle. That's why they're fighting harder. But let's talk about that.
Yeah. It became clear to me very early on in the research that everybody had a vested interest in Black education. Everybody cared about Black minds. For some, it was a matter of national security. There was a real question about the danger of allowing African Americans in freedom to have access to education. For some, the question was, what kind of education should Black folks have? For others, it was a question of, should we have it at all? Okay? Wow. You also had many northern missionaries who had a deep interest in helping to build up the Black education system, Black and white. Missionaries who dropped everything that they had going on in their homes in Connecticut and Massachusetts and Rhode Island and moved south right after the Civil War and lived there and lived and worked as teachers in many of these freedmen schools. They had an interest in the Black mind.
Yeah, what was their motivation? What would make them do that?
For some, it was a proselytizing mission to promote a Christian education, to reinforce a religious education. For others, it was about control, meaning shaping the contours of what Black folks were allowed to learn and what would be off limits for us. So you had a lot of
Control.
differing interest, but nobody had more of an interest in Black education than Black Americans themselves. So why I call this a battle, and I dedicate 2 chapters squarely on this topic. Also, philanthropist. What we know today is like big philanthropy, which were predominantly white institutions. Big philanthropy was born on supporting and financing the spread of the education system in the South. They too had a specific interest in Black education. Why? Because who were America's first philanthropists? They were your robber barons from the Gilded Age. They were your Carnegies, they were your Rockefellers, and so on. And what did they need? An endless supply of manual labor. They wanted laborers who would do, not think. They wanted to break unions, okay? They wanted to save cost and stop having to import labor from Europe when they could just tap into and exploit the potential labor pool of Black Americans in the South. So you have all these forces landing on this battleground of the Black education system. That's why it's called Battle for the Black Mind. It's not just a history. It's not just a tale of what any one group did. This is a story about power. Think of a tug of war, but it's not just two ways. It's multiple ropes trying to pull that thing and shape that thing, because we all understand knowledge is power. And whoever would win this battle would be able to shape the future for generations to come. And that is why today we are seeing the same battles happening. Where's that battlefield? Our American education system is once again under attack. And there are all these competing interests, because we know that the moral conscience of the nation is and has always been rooted in the school.
Through education.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Okay. So we won't go into this too much, but I did want to ask you to touch on the how W.E.B. Du Bois and I'm
Washington.
Carter G. Woodson. It's not Carter G.
Washington.
Woodson. I'm just reading The Miseducation of the Negro. And say the name, Leslie.
Washington.
Because my brain. What's his first name?
Booker T. Washington.
Booker T. Washington. Thank you. How those two men were at odds. If you could just kind of mention that, I just want to kind of, because I know a lot of people kind of hear about that, and this is the when that was boiling. Right. These two
different
opinions about
factions
how to right. And these white philanthropists, thanks to Dr. Brown's book, I'm learning this, how these philanthropists got involved
inserted themselves into the fight and chose sides and stirred the pot and because they had an interest.
It was messy.
So I will be brief, and I won't share too much, because I want our readers and friends to really dig into this chapter.
Yes, no spoiler alerts.
No spoiler alerts.
But I will say this. I have a whole chapter on the beef between Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois. And this is really important because I want everybody to understand what that battle was really about.
Yes.
And what it did for Black political thought at the time. So I say that before there was Kendrick and Drake, before Jay-Z and Nas, before Biggie and Tupac, this beef between W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington, that was the original diss tape.
That was the
Damn.
It was the original diss tape. Wow. Never before in American history did we see two Black titans come out on the public stage and go at it.
Yeah.
And put all their business out in the street.
And we don't do that.
Beefing, right? And it was important, and I say that in the book because I want to remind us that diss tapes are in fact an important genre in African American history. Yeah. It is, yes, it's the beef between the two figures, but what it is, those two figures stand in for, and they are avatars for different ideologies.
Yes. That we're not a monolith.
Yes, and that's just what I'm saying. We are not a monolith. So it's not one thought. It's such a diversity of thought and opinions.
Malcolm and Martin,
with
all the way down.
Yes.
And what the diss tape as a genre does, and I love that you brought in Malcolm and Martin, just another binary that we can think about. What the genre does is it allows room for everyday folks to get into the political discourse. And we start having these discussions in our home, in our communities. We start beefing, but that is the fertilizer for political action.
Absolutely.
So I didn't want to minimize that. It really is a form. Okay, it's an aesthetic, a Black aesthetic. And what were Booker T. Washington and Du Bois? What was at the core of their beef? It was over Black education. It was this beef
Each
between,
one had different ideas about
industrial education or liberal education. Which one was the pathway? I do believe that both of these men had the same destination in mind at the end of their freedom dreams for Black people. They wanted us to be free, healthy, whole, and self-determined. However, the pathway for how they thought we should get there were diametrically opposed, and they beefed about that vehemently. What is important also that I want you all to have an open mind about when you read this book, because folks be on my social media coming at my neck because I've talked about I talk about some of your heroes in this book, and it's not always roses, but that's important.
It is.
Why? Because that critical discourse, we need to be able to ask ourselves questions, to interrogate these facets of our political history, because they will inform us and equip us for today. And what we saw from these men, even though they beefed for the entirety of Booker T. Washington's life, him and Du Bois continued to write each other letters. They continued to sit on panels with one another. They continued. So what that told me was, they both loved Black people enough to fight it out, but still get back in there because they both knew we're going. So that lesson there is, y'all, we can't be canceling each other.
That's this cancel
we can't
culture.
Be doing that.
Come on now.
Yeah, and the importance of truth and not hiding the truth.
Listen. Really, this book is mind expanding.
That's a great way to,
I believe Leslie and I have been talking about AI a lot. We're it's one of the things that we fear, but we've decided to look at it in the face and as I read your book, and even now hearing you kind of go into it a little more deeply, I'm thinking about this time. What are we prepared to do this time? What are our freedom dreams this time?
For this time. And a call to action, to really make those freedom dreams a reality,
Absolutely.
So let us remind ourselves today, we're not just going to do democracy, because that is a verb. We're not going to take it for granted and think it's something that's just going to fall in our lap. Okay? But when we do democracy, it matters how we show up too.
Yes.
And we can show up with our heads held high, knowing that we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors who have assured the relay for us generation after generation after generation, and did it with grace and aplomb and love and radical freedom dreaming and political imagination. So how dare we think that we're going to be woe is me and wallowing in fear and analysis paralysis and feeling overwhelmed like there's nothing we can do. Perhaps today might be difficult, but I'm here to tell you that there is no fascist regime in history that's ever lasted. It's empirically a fact that these types of regimes do not last. So what does that tell us? While we're the small axes falling those big trees of oppression, standing up every day doing the things that we need to do to take our democracy back, we also have to have a mindset of those freedom dreams of what comes after.
Yes.
What United States do we want for ourselves to live in, to be able to grow old in, for our children and grandchildren, for those who are not born yet of our families? And we have to imagine that and show up in that form.
Okay.
That's what Miss Lucy did. That's what Mary did, and Mary did. And they weren't thinking for themselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I got chills. Girl, you just gave me, my eyes got a little wet. I'm like sweating. It's real.
I appreciate the opportunity whenever I get to talk about this. Yeah. Sometimes when we read our books about our history that deal especially with this period of time of Jim Crow, it's like you got to brace yourself and gird your loins, because it was hard. It was heartbreaking and all manner of injustice and terror. And I'm not diminishing that. But I was also reading the archive for hope. I was also reading the archive for joy.
Yes.
Because we had that too, and it wasn't hard to find.
And that's what I felt reading these early stories about what she did. What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's also, and we need those reminders, because it's easy to identify and name the things that aren't working, but there is so much that was being done on the ground then. Our Lucys, our Marys, our Charlotte Hawkins Browns, but there's so much that is being done on the ground right now today.
Still.
And we cannot lose sight of what we are doing.
That's right. That's right. And
wow.
I'm going to bring this to a close and again talk about legacy. Even if you don't feel like you're the one, because it only takes one, find organizations. Be in community where it's already started. It's already started, and you can link up, as we say in Jamaica. You can link up with work that is already going on and see how you can bring your gifts and talents to that work. That is how this happens. These women started schools. They were not alone. They had to get resources. They were resourceful. Be the resources.
Yeah.
Be the resources to help to put these changes that we want to see in place. This is,
but even more than that, Ange, and I think that what's easier than that, Dr. Karida, as an oral historian, we just got to keep talking about it.
Yes, that's true.
We just got to keep talking about it. I mean, this book. We just got to talk about it. Hey, did you know such and such? Let me show you. You ain't going to believe this. Look at the picture. Yeah. Look at this tree. We just have to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a part of our history, too.
And that is also a part of our history.
The griot part of our history, where we share stories, we pass on stories.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being here so very much.
Yes.
We applaud your work. We're here for you. If there's anything that you believe we can do, even in the farthest reaches of your mind, if you can think of anything that Leslie or I can be of service to your work, we are here for you. We are the aunties. We are here for you, and we are just cheering you on. With everything and keeping you in prayer, of course.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh,
Wow.
I appreciate that.
And I'm like sweating. I'm like getting tearful. And what a way to end. but you know why? Because I feel it. I feel it in my spirit.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I gotta say, this has been another episode of Black Boomer Besties from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.